What about sunrise? What about rain? What about all the things that you said we were to gain? What about killing feels? Is there a time? What about all the things that you said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the blood we've shed before? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, this weeping shore? Ooh, what have we done to the world? Look what we've done. What about all the peace that you pledged your only son? What about flowering fields? Is there a time? What about all the dreams that you said was yours and mine? Did you ever stop to notice all the children dead from war? Did you ever stop to notice this crying earth, this weeping shore? Ooh, I used to dream, I used to glance beyond the stars. Now I don't know where we are, although I know we're drifting far. Ooh, what about yesterday? What about us? What about the seas? What about us? Heavens are falling down. What about us? I can't even feel. What about us? What about again? What about us? I ain't even do. What about us? What about nature's worth? Is our planet smooth? What about us? What about animals? What about it? Turn kingdom to dust. What about us? What about elephants? What about us? Have we lost their trust? What about us? What about crying whales? What about us? Ravaging the seas? What about us? What about forest trails? Bridges that I believe. What about us? What about the Holy Land? What about it? Torn apart by greed. What about us? What about the common man? What about us? Can we set him free? What about us? What about children dying? What about us? Can you get them cry? What about